Hey guys, welcome to another voiceover. My name is Akemi-chan, and for this term's voiceover, we are going to be painting the character Karlach from the newest, one of the new games, Baldur's Gate 3. So I have spent quite a bit of hours on that game already, and I have to say, if you had the chance to play the game, she is one of the most lovable characters there is. So I'm pretty happy about painting her. So I already have the basic sketch done. I'll probably make some simplification to her outfit. She does have a lot of details in her character design, so I'm gonna kind of simplify a few things. So she does have scars and tattoos, which we will put those in after rendering her body out. So yeah, this is the basic sketch. And we have the reference for her right here. So I'm gonna try to keep her facial structure. She has a conventionally nice structured face, but she has some more iconic look to her, such as her eyes, um, and hair. And then of course she has a very fit and beefy build. So her arm is gonna be pretty big, and so is the rest of her. Alright, so got my sketch, and this time we're going to blocking all the parts separately, such as her hair, face, body, etc. Uh, so yeah, let's get started with that. I'm going to go ahead and basically blocking the face first. So this is kind of like how I used to do things back when I was still using a lot of Photoshop. So it'll just be a similar process here. So I cut the face. Gonna have my torso top area. Maybe I'll do it like this. I'll have her arms and bust area all in one single layer, and then I will have her legs on a separate layer. I think that's what I will go for. And then we have the rest, which is her leg. And for her leg, she's going to be wearing leather pants. That is quite on brand for her. Although I did wanted to try to, I was thinking originally to have her wear like white pants or something, because she doesn't normally, well, her base design is like black leather or leather in general, so I thought maybe white would look good. I might try that out later. And then of course we have her hair, so I'll just block that in. And normally for hair I like to do it separately, so I like to layer them. So we have the most forefront bang, and then we have the hair in the back. So here, and then I will let's do horns. She has one broken horn and then one full horn. So we'll just fill those in. I'll make the horn slightly darker in base color like that. And then we have the back hair, or the hair in the back. just select the rough outline and fill that in with the back hair silhouette. Last but not least, her tail. Using the lasso tool once again, I'll just select the rough outline. And for this piece, I had imagined she would be sitting on a big piece of ice to cool herself down because she is from hell in the story lore, and she has an infernal engine that heats her up. So therefore, I thought it'd be fun to have her sit on an ice cube or a giant ice piece, and there'd be like steam coming from it or something. Something interesting, I guess. And of course, she is very thirsty because she hasn't had any in a very, 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 very long time. Since she's so hot and stuff. Burning from her infernal engine heart and such. Yeah, the story is very interesting. Yeah, this game is quite good. And if you like storytelling, it's a pretty good game. Reminds me of Dragon Age, but better. Alright, we have our base all done. We still have our sketch. I mean, our lines. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and start adding a bit of shadow and highlight. And we're going to do this by basically using the multiply layer. And let's go ahead and use a bit of a cooler tone for the shadows. So we just want to do some general shading. Something to get started, you could say. Oh, wait, hold on. I was going to... Let's take that out. And I will briefly kind of just block in her top here. Copy paste. We'll just name it top. Actually, I should be calling this bust or something. Her top is going to be black or a leather black color. Oh my gosh. Actually, let me see. Ooh, she would look so good in white though. Yeah, maybe that could be a alt version, but yeah. Let's go for the dark top look, and then for her face, I will quickly block in her eyes, so she does have her eyelid is pretty not very visible. I mean, she has double eyelid, but it is pretty close to her. Oh, actually, you know what? This is called hooded eyes. Yeah, I forgot about it. But she does have hooded eyes. We'll just block that in. Block it in with the base color. And she does have a smoky eye, and it's pretty obvious, so we're just going to exaggerate it a little bit in our version. to make it more prominent, you could say. Have a bit of nose, and then her lips. So I did kind of have it so her tongue is sticking out, but maybe I should just start off with a very static expression. And of course, I'm gonna have to work on those jaw lines later on, but we'll just go with this for now. Alright, back to doing the shadows real quick. So I'm gonna have lighting coming from the top left. So we're going to be shading based on that. Guess we'll have her belly kind of in the shadow, and then her hip is gonna catch some of that sunlight. And then her legs, only the top portion will be catching that light. Maybe a bit of drop down shadow from her hand, tucking in between her legs, casting on one of her legs on the side. So maybe this could be like our rough shadow. And it's quite messy, so I'll just go into the blur fingertip blend. It's kind of like smudge in Photoshop. So I like using this. This does a good job at basically just giving the rough edges a little bit of softness. Obviously, this is not gonna be it, but it does create a nice little blended base for me to work from. It just offers a somewhat of a more smooth look. As you can see, I'm going to lock in the shadow and then we'll darken it using the airbrush. I'll just somewhat darken the edges of some of the shadow. It helps create some variety, or variation actually. Yeah, variation is the word I was looking for. And can even test it out with some different colors for the shadow. Obviously, I want her to be sitting on ice, so the rim light inside the shadow, I'm gonna aim for like a bluish color. Alright, so there we have it, a quick shadow base. And let's go ahead and do a little bit of the background. So the background itself, I'm going to be taking basically screenshots of the camp that Karlach's gonna be at, or in-game environment, kind of like how I did with Shadowheart. I do want to make sure it's a little bit like a, overall a bluish background, or yeah, bluish borders. I have to look for like a proper environmental environmental screenshot or something like that. That looks nice. There's so many good environmental design in this game. The gameplay is also quite fun. Maybe we can go with the opening or uh the character selection background again, maybe. Alright guys, so I end up finding like something I liked while googling Baldur's Gate environment, put it up there. Might take it into Photoshop, blur this out a little bit because as you can see it's very pixelated. And I put in a block of ice texture, and yeah, that's what she's gonna be sitting on, and we're gonna try to blend that in somehow after, maybe paint a little bit of her fingers sticking out and whatnot. But for now, this is what we have. Okay. Now that we have our environment, base, shadow, and all that, which is good because having the environment just helps me to visualize or to kind of refine the shading a little bit. We're gonna go into screen and we will try to add in some more visible highlights. And of course I will be working on the face structure a little bit later. Definitely I need a little bit more cheekbone or elongate the face slightly maybe. But yeah, I'm just going to kind of somewhat work in a bit of shadow, you could say. Her top is gonna have some shine to it. We're gonna use the blue color. So is her pants. Just some rough highlight. Quick hair highlight. Some horns highlight, although her horn is has a very matte texture, so it doesn't catch that much shine. Some hair highlight roughly. Last but not least, let's put in another layer of shadow. Basically, I'll just try to add in as much shading as I can through just using basic modifier layers like multiply. And then we'll just merge everything down, and then we get to refine all that. Let's add a bit of definition. I'm going to add some more shadow to her pants. I can't wait to get to the leather pants. But this will have to do for now. Alright, so this is what we have, so we can do a little before and after just to see like how much that changes and all that. So this is going in a pretty good direction, I would say. I also wanted to give her some armband. She does have armbands, although not this simplified. But I'm just going to make everything a little simpler for me to paint. Alrighty, so our modifiers are ready. I'm going to actually move these down, constrain them, and then we will paste that onto every single part and merge them down individually into each piece of layer that we have for her. And that concludes the base. So now we'll go into each layer and refine, and this process can be pretty much repeated until you get a nice render that you're satisfied with, or you can just keep it a little bit more simpler if you wish. Put my lines on multiply, lower them a little bit. Alright, let's start off. I guess the first layer is the tail, but I don't want to work on the tail first. Let's work on the pants first. It's the next biggest thing after the tail, or it is the second layer. So for the pants, I'm going to use the lasso tool to help me with this. I'm gonna try to make my job a little bit easier by just using as much tools as I can to kind of make the lighting a little better. Even though right now it's looking rough because, you know, I'm not actually refining, I'm just playing around with the shadow and highlight. After I get one that I like, then I go in and then I refine. Going back to the airbrush tool. Airbrush is a bit more stable, so I can get a more stable result when I refine compared to the other brush. Let's go with the cool tone to add some of that rim light. It's painting some of these folds for pants. Let's add a tiny bit of lighting right underneath her kneecap there. Go back to that. I'm going to use a slight bit of a warmer tone for this. I'm gonna have to work on that kneecap. It is looking a little flimsy. So I will be in this area for a bit, trying to make this area look a little bit more solid. Gonna use the lasso tool again to help me just block in the whole upper side of the leg. And then we have the shadow that I wanted to put in connection with the arms just tucked in there. So we'll make sure to kind of select that out using the lasso tool. Go back to the lasso tool. It is still really useful. So I'm always going back to the lasso tool. And we will darken this area. Go back to the paintbrush. Add a little bit of highlight. Use some of the blue, and we're going to just very softly graze it towards the top portion of our leg. Might not work that well though. Okay, we'll just add a little bit of it, but we'll continue this here. Let's go with a warmer highlight for the top portion of her pants. And then we'll have the cooler highlight towards the bottom. Select again, use the lasso tool again, and we're just going to enhance whatever we have here. In addition to this, we are going to look for some nice texture for the pants because it's gonna make everything look so much more realistic. And you know, there's just so much I could do here. But if we use a texture, it's gonna help with more of a realistic look, and it just enhances the pants so much more. So I'm just going to go on Google leather pants, find a texture that I think will sort of somewhat apply to what I have, and we're just going to plop it right on there. Okay, I found something that I kind of like. Well, I especially like this part because it's got a nice kneecap protrusion right there. Let's see if we can make use of it in our piece. So I'll just paste it. Let's see if it will fit with our piece. So I'll just roughly place it and use the liquify tool, which is this right here. I mean, it does add some interesting texture, but we have to... Okay. We can't use all of this because it ends up looking a little weird. Let's see what we could do. Maybe do something like this, lower it. I guess I'll just use a little bit of it. So constrain that down. Now for the top portion, let's use that much, and we'll just overlay it. See how much we could use of this texture. And probably not that much. not too much either. It doesn't really fit what we want to go for. So I'll just remove it. I guess we'll just stick with this for now. I'm gonna create a new layer, constraint down. Let's use the airbrush. Airbrush down some. Highlight, at least I want this area to be bulging out. Because that's like where her hips are protruding and stuff. Let's go for this. Take this, bring it up a little bit. Add a tiny bit of highlight here. I want her leg to be, her leg muscle at least to be a little bit more prominent. So we're gonna have this part of her leg catching some of that lighting. Something like this. Merge down and then intensify the top there. Let's go to that brush. Use the highlight. Add some shine. Let's add a bit of environmental color in here. Maybe a bit of red. Blend out the rear portion just a little bit. Let's go back to this once again. Select the very top. Copy paste, and we will go into tone correction, color balance, highlight, and drag yellow and red up because we want to enhance the how warm it is towards the top portion of the character. At least, not sure if that would make sense afterwards because the environment in general is very cool, so I don't know. I am just testing out, you could say, just testing it out, see if it would work. Guess I'll just settle for a bit more of a brighter look. And then I will take the erase tool, erase a little bit of the bottom area just to help soften it in. Lower the opacity. Sometimes, you know, I could go a little too crazy, so we'll just lower the opacity for that change. Merge down. And we'll be on to other things shortly. Next up is the bust layer. I'm gonna try to lower it down some more. And then after, we're just going to go ahead and blend stuff in and whatnot. So first things first. I'm just going to select the portion of the area, especially the ones that are supposed to be kind of catching the light, and I will just intensify them a little bit like that. gonna use the lasso tool and the airbrush. So I'll be working on sections of her body one at a time, and in order to keep it clean, I'm gonna use the lasso tool to help me just isolate those areas only while I basically go around and uh, refine. So she's got a lot of scars and whatnot. So this is not going to be smooth for long, but we do need to paint out a base first. So her skin's going to be nice and flat without anything at first, and then we're going to add in the juicy details later. And I'm going to be adding those details just through texture. So I'll just find a close-up of her scars and whatnot, and we're just going to put it on there like a photo texture, like we would photo texture. Inverse. I guess I could just also pick up some of that from her actual reference, but her skin is quite muted compared to what I have, or a little bit more muted and a little bit more on the orangey side of things. I picked more of like a reddish undertone, so we'll just make a slight change. That's okay though. As you can see, for a highlight, her highlights tend to run more like a orangish beige. So we'll go for that. I'm going to run through the whole thing, just do a slight color adjustment, not too much of a big deal. Same for here. Grab some of that color. Alright, I'm going to use my lasso tool on this side of her arm now. Let's grab a little bit of highlight. Actually, for the highlight, I want to use this color. Let's add a tiny bit of definition or detail for the arm part. Let's add, save. Let's save this real quick. Save and add a tiny bit of highlight towards the top portion here. Use the lasso tool. Do that. Let's add a tiny bit of highlight here, not too much. And use the airbrush, grab this color, Apply it to her chest as well. I feel like I'm doing a somewhat of a complete change in skin tone. Let's extend this a bit. And as for this area, copy paste, I want to put it a little bit more in the shadow. Next up, take the highlight and we'll just add it to her hips a bit, just to bring out the hip, make it a little bit more visible. Other than that, I'm going to actually, you know what? Maybe we could have, I'm just going to basically grab all of this, all the lines that's associated with the bust area, and then we'll put it on the bust area. And I'll just clean it up a little bit, because there is some areas that's a bit messy. I'm going to rotate this onto the other side so that I could get a new view and also work on the abs area. I'm going to be using the cooler tone for highlight. Use the lasso tool to block in. Something like this with some implied ab shading. Let's go back to here. Use the airbrush once again. Merge, oh, okay. Merge down now. So now I merged the lines in with the base color layer. I can go ahead and just try to blend that in, I guess. Use the airbrush here for a more stable look. But overall, I think it's going in a direction that I like. So I'm happy about that. Go here, delete that part. complete. Blend that in and also clean up. Copy, paste. Just want to gonna do some moving around and refining the shapes and whatnot. Merge down. Alright, so I guess we could call it here for the bust. Although I think I could probably enhance it a little bit. Let's take this, bring it up slightly. Use it to really highlight, give some shine to her red skin. But at the same time, I have to make sure to not overdo it to the point that it looks airbrushy. Let's get some highlight, soft highlight. Let's do a little bit of adjusting for the contrast. Merge down. Next up is the armband. Cut the lines for that real quick. Put it on the armband. I guess nothing too much to work on for the armband itself. I could add some basic shadow and highlight and just smooth it out. And then we'll go to the top now. I did want to make somewhat of a leather-ish style top, tank top that is. So just smooth things up a bit. Let's flip her and add some highlight towards the top portion. I'm just following a reference I found. Leather tank top reference. And then we'll have a little bit of warmer tone towards the bottom. Something like that. I'm going to use a slightly darker color just to paint in some of the folds. Next up, let's see what we could do to make things a little better. So I'll just immediately increase the contrast there. As for here, I was hoping I could get a nice little highlight here, highlighting her chest and giving a nice little high point here, but I'm not sure if it works that well. Let's add some highlight tension lines. Go back to the bust area. We have to readjust the arm shading. Add some shadow, especially close to the armband to really sell the fact that it's tight on her. Go back to the top. Grab a bit of this color and we'll brush it towards the upper area. This part right here. Let's continue to refine the top. I think right about now I should probably be adding some more intricate belt details because her outfit is kind of like that. But first, once again, I will just grab the sketch that has to do with her top and then put it on the top. I will also kind of refine things while I'm at it. Refine certain things. And I do want to give her a choker, so I will do that at the end, I think, after I do a bit more work on her neck. Grab a slightly darker color. Blend her neck. Alright, that's done. And for the top, let's create a new layer. I guess I could try to add some small amount of detail to it. This is like a more simplified version of her top. Let's have some down here. Buckles, I mean. It's a lot of buckles. We'll just do like use her original design as an inspiration. Her original design has a lot of buckles and details, negative spacing and whatnot. It's very intricate. Let's do this. This is definitely very simplistic compared to original design. Alright, let's roll with this for now. Let's see what we could do with this area right here. Copy paste. Play around with the contrast a bit. And lighten. Let's use red. Use red and add some red tone towards the top folds, or just in general the top of the leather top. Yeah, I think that works. Not too bad. We'll go with that for now. I do want to make sure that I give at least a little indication of a strap on her. Just imply a strap. Okay. Strap implied. Merge down. Next up is her hair. She has a dark color hair with red streaks. But I think the hair should be done at the same time as the face. So that's what we will do. Find the lines, make some slight modification to the lines. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the lines that's associated with the face and then put it on the face for now, and at the same time elongate her face a little bit and just do some changes in general to her facial structure to make it a little bit similar to the in-game, her in-game look. I guess she does have a very strong jawline. Go back to the face, lock it down so that we can work on it. So we'll just go ahead and start sculpting out her face, but with a bit of my classic semi-realistic Korean MMO look. Let's grab a bit of this color, bring it down to her chin. To her slightly snatched cheekbone. And then her pointy ears that's tapered upwards. I will fix that shape later. Try my best to sculpt out the nose. Grab a bit of the highlight. Add a little bit towards under her eyes. Then on top of her cheekbone, just following the reference. Grab some cool tone, put it in her eyes. Grab a bit of the yellow color. I'm just going to intensify the look of her, the yellow of her eyes. Move around the nose sketch. Okay, so now play around with the shape. I mean, just moving her face around basically. Let's go into the bust layer. Add a bit of shadow underneath her face. I think I will have to spend a bit more time on that. The eyes. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a bit more time on her face, but it's starting to kind of look like her a bit more. So yeah. Let's zoom in a bit more to the face. Grab the reference and we're gonna have it right next to her face. Alright. So now I'm going to work on the hair a little bit and then we'll go back to the face and we'll be switching between the hair and the face for this part. Alright, so airbrush first and make sure it's on multiply because we will be darkening the hair quite a bit. After darkening the hair, I'm going to go into hairbrush. The hairbrush is a custom brush I downloaded off of the asset store. You could find a couple of these created by other users just on the store. So this is one of them. I'll start off by adding some highlights after I just darken the hair up. Kind of like that. And I'll even borrow some of the color from it, from the reference itself. After that, let's go to the top, the hair on top of her hair. I mean, wait, did I just say that? I mean, the hair on top of her head this time. Borrow some of the same color from the reference and put it down. I'm just going to do a couple of these. Just try my best to create some sort of hair texture and keep it kind of messy. That way, I think I could create a nice amount of hair texture. And maybe we could just stack it. So I'll create another layer, clip it down. Let's put this layer on screen mode. Use a cool tone, a blue tone, and I will add a bit of highlight towards the top and then maybe blur it out afterwards. It's not the best result. Let's go with it for now. And then somewhat refine the silhouette or clean up the silhouette of the hair just cascading around her face here. I'm giving her a little bit more hair coverage on the side of her face, only because I think it's a more seductive look. And I'm going for like a sexy pinup look for Karlach here. I guess for now I'll just make her hair dark, and then after I will add the highlights. Create a new layer, clip down. Let's use airbrush for her eyes. I'm going to go ahead and make her eyes a little bit bigger. Alright, let's continue. So I'm giving her a little bit more eyeshadow towards the bottom of her lower lid. And I think that's what's gonna help with making her look more like her in-game model. And then let's use a bit of blue, add a tiny bit of shine to her lid. Let's add, or not add, but soften the highlight from her nose bridge down to her nose. I think she has a little bit of freckles too. We'll smooth down the nose shadow. I guess I do want to give her more of a sultry look. I think I can play around with the expression after I'm done with her base face. Cupid's bow, making sure it's nice and defined. A little highlight towards the top portion of her lower lip. Blend in the shadow underneath her bottom lip. And then let's add a bit of highlight on her chin, just like the reference. She does have a snatched jawline and cheekbone, so try to give her a little bit of that. I know she already has a little bit of that in my version, but a little bit more couldn't hurt, right? As long as I don't go crazy and all. Next up is the horns. So her horns are integrated into her skin with some scale detail. So we'll just try to emulate the look. Same with on this side, just some scribblies yes, scribblies. Scribblies for the horns. For the horn texture, I mean. So I'll just be doing some of these scribbly lines for the horn texture. Or at least I will try. Grab a bit of the color from the reference. And I'll just gradually add it in on this side. Okay, I think that should do it. Actually turned out better than I expected. And her horn is broken on that side, so there is somewhat of an asymmetry there. Let's grab a bit of the highlight and add it to the side of the horn. Back to the face. Back to the face, and I'm going to add some implied hair around this area. Next up is her ears, which is tapered upwards. I'm going to render the ear out first. And following the reference shape so I don't have to do my own elf ear shape. Because it would look a little different from this version. After that, we'll go to this side and do the same. I'm going to use a shadow this time. Want to give her base smile though. Okay, I think that should do it. So I merge everything down. And I'm gonna work on that taper now for the ear. Let's bring up her lower lid to create a nice smile. Add a bit of expression into her eyebrows. Guess I'll add a tiny bit of lashes. scar there. I think she has other scars. I can't quite see them in this reference here. So got the horns. At least this horn is done. I'm going to cut the sketch for that part and then put it, combine it with this layer with the horn, and then we'll work on the other horn. Oh, that, okay. Lock it in. And then we will go ahead and do that. So I'm going to use a small brush, small watercolor brush, and we will scribble our way through this horn. Following the reference. Scribble all the way downward. And we'll scribble these lines all the way through till the tip. Actually, if we zoom out, it doesn't look too messy. But of course, if you zoom in, you can see all that scribbling brush strokes and whatnot. So I'll continue to just scribble, imply that texture, and then let's take this color right here, and I'll just add a little bit towards the other tip of this side, and a little bit on the other side as well. Let's grab a bit of blue and scribble on the underside of this side in particular. Actually, it didn't work out as well as I'd hope, actually. I was hoping it would look a little bit better. But I guess, you know, we can't always do what we visualize sometimes. Oh well. Guess I'll just continue to scribble away. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and intensify some of these areas. Merge down, go into the sketch, grab the sketch that's involved in the horn, and merge that said sketch into the horn. Okay. After merging down, mostly I can get rid of the sketch. So we're going to remove that and then okay, find the rest of the hair so that I can work on that. I might need to do another selection for the hair because of her hair is kind of leaning in an upward direction like this. So I think I'll do another batch of hair right on top of the main front bang, and curve it upwards like this. I will just do the silhouette for now, blocking what I want to do. After that, lock it in. And go back to the hairbrush. And basically we'll just try to blend it into the other part of the hair. Grab some highlights. Go back to this part of the hair. I'm gonna create a group for the head only. Yep. Hair, hair. Uh, Gotta make sure to lock that in. Grab some cool tone. We'll add it in. Add a bit of that color towards this side. Go back to the upper part of the hair. And we'll do the same for the top portion. And then we'll go to this hair layer, which is the back hair layer, and we will do some detail work. Let's add some hair silhouette here and there, here and there. Let's go ahead and add some highlight towards the side. You remove some of the silhouette. Make a tight fit there. Remove. Alright, so I think we got the head kind of down. Just need to apply the red streak and maybe add some more highlights and stuff. For now, I can sort of move it around a little bit to make it fit the shape, or make it look a bit more like her in-game character. Save. Let's go ahead and add some hair silhouette on the opposite side. Clean it up a little bit as well. Let's bring in that hairline on this side. And then move the reference over just a tad. Let's go ahead and do refine her tail using the airbrush, of course. Airbrush, let's use a cooler tone highlight for the bottom highlight. And then we'll have the warmer highlight for the top portion of the tail where it's catching the sunlight. Have to work on that taper as well for the tail. Grab this, have it towards the bottom of the tail. And then I'm going to just intensify it. After intensifying, we'll just blend it in. After enhancing it further with brightness and contrast, we'll go back in and blend it in once again. And okay, the tail is good to go now. We'll go back to the face or the hair in particular because there is a bunch of refining that I have to do. So we'll go there. Further refine the silhouette for this hair part right here. So I'm not following completely the shape that she has, and the hair I'm giving her is slightly longer than what she has originally. I do want to make her hair look a bit more elegant, so that's why I lengthened it. Alright, now I'm going to create a new layer. Let's use the blue tone. The blue tone is going to offset some of this warmness. So I'll just basically use the blue tone towards the opposite side from where there's highlight. And then actually, let me lower it. Okay, I think I have to blend it in a bit more. It's looking not very uniform. So I'll just try to spread it out more towards the underside. Merge down. And then we'll use the lasso tool, select certain areas where there's already highlight. But I just want to select a few more of those areas, copy, paste, and then we will enhance the brightness of that, I guess like this. Do a little toggle on and off just to see, if it's looking good or not. Merge down after that. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to her shoulder. Okay, let's see. What else can I do? Okay, so create a new layer. I'm going to stack on some more rim light, like that nice rim light right here. It works better for the reference because the background itself is like darker and we have a nice rim light that stands out because of it. But we don't have that yet. I might modify the background so that I can also get a nice rim light for my piece as well, in contrast to the background. So for now we will do our best with what we have here. Let me go ahead, create a new layer, put it down. I want to expand the silhouette right here, the round shape in particular. And then have the hair kind of twirl towards this way. I will just continue to render it out somewhat. It's messy, but zoomed out it looks not as bad. You can still see it's kind of a bit too painterly, but should be okay. I'm going to go ahead and warp it once again. Gonna try to warp it to the shape of her chest. Go back to this hair now. Actually, in general, I'm going to create a new layer. Now that I have my new layer, I'm going to use a blue tone. And in general, I'll just be basically highlighting some of the hair batches with it. And mostly I'm going to be focused towards the right side of the hair. Let's bring it down. This is to help to enhance some of the environmental color on the hair itself. Let's grab a bit of this, put it on that hair strand. Next, I'm going to use a brighter color, and we'll do the opposite side, and this is to enhance the side facing the light, hopefully. I might tone down the brightness. think it's working. Might experiment on the color of that highlight. Let's up that, lower the saturation, lower it a little bit, and I'll take off some of that highlight. Next up, create a new layer, and I'm going to add some of the red streaks around her hair now. I might tone down the red too. So just place some of the red streaks around throughout her hair, and then lower the opacity, tone it down a little bit, and I believe it's getting there. So now I have a pretty rough look here of the final hair results. I mean, if we zoom in, it's pretty messy, but all that mess does give a nice texture, a bit of a nice hair texture to her hair. So now I will take all that edit layer and apply it to each of my hair layer that I have going on. Alrighty, so now that that's done, we can kind of zoom in and do a bit more refining. This is optional. I mean, at this point, I think it's decent, and I could probably call it a day here. Although it's up to the artist itself. If you feel like you want to add some more detail, you can do that as well. I'm going to zoom in here and just add some more little hair streaks here and there. And taking a look at the reference, I want to add some highlight. And maybe some off strand. Oh, I can keep it a little bit wispier. I could probably use a slightly brighter color for this. Let's continue the wispiness of the hair. And we'll just continue to refine some of these areas, especially because I did use the airbrush for some of these. Like when I applied the blue to the hair. Some of it read a little bit airbrushy. So we'll just try to fix that by adding some smaller details / refining as we go along. Honestly, this is not really needed, but if you want to just refine it a little bit more, you can do what I'm doing, which is just rendering it out slightly. If this was before, when I used to use Photoshop, I'd probably spend a bit more time on it, but after doing so much comic, I've been kind of conditioned to not be so nitpicky on having everything smoothed out and stuff. Which is kind of good, because I did have a kind of a issue with nitpicking and stuff like that back when I was not doing comics and stuff. I mean, I still nitpick, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Let's add some more red streaks. I'm going to add it in manually. That's done. Let's go to this part now. Create a new layer. I'm going to add some dark tones. Dark tones followed by a red tone. I'll just be using what I've done already with the whole airbrush application of the blue and the rest, and then going over it with the hairbrush. Let's hope that it's doing something. So I did end up removing some of the highlight, but we will bring it back with the hairbrush. Go back to the hairline so that I can make it more blended into her scalp. Before and after, just lower the opacity, merge down, and then use the lasso tool. I'm going to select certain area of the hair and then enhancing it with the brightness and contrast. Lower, merge down, and repeat this technique until I'm happy with the results. Go to this layer, this hair layer now. I'm going to copy this part and rotate it downward. After that, lock it in, airbrush, select, and I'm going to just do a bit of layering, you could say. Up, move. I want to move this upward. Merge down. Go back to the hairbrush, create a new layer first so we don't mess up the base. After that, I'm just going to go ahead and re-add in some of the darker colors. And then adding back in the red streaks next. And then add back in the cooler tones. Constrain down, lower the opacity. We can do a little bit of an in-between. Go back to the horn and then create a new layer, clip it down to the new horn layer. We'll go back and readjust that. Merge down. Let's use the liquify tool. Readjust the horn placement. Horn placement and shading. Alright. Merge down the hair. And then I'm going to create a new layer. Let's do screen. This time I'm going to try to enhance the rim light. So we'll just add rim light throughout the hair. Let's add some rim light for the red streaks of the hair, or at least I will try to imply it. I'm also looking at the reference to see how it's done. I'm going a little bit too crazy towards the top area, so I'll just erase some of that after I'm done here. Let's go with the smudge tool and smudge it up a little bit. And then just kind of intensify it at the same time. Next up, create a new layer. Screen as well. Let's put some blue highlight. So I will just add in some of the blue highlight sparingly. I guess not sparingly enough. I need to make it a little bit more subtle. I think that should be okay. So we'll just go ahead and apply those effects that I just did to all the hair layers once again, and a little bit to the face. Now that that's done, I'll go back in some of these areas and intensifying certain portions of the hair. There we go. I'm just trying to get it a little bit closer to the reference. Alright, so now that that's done, let's slightly move things around a bit. Go back to the face, create a new layer, use the airbrush. I'm going to be adding a bit of blue highlight, especially on her skin. we're going to focus towards the other, or at least focus towards the top portion of her face and her overall skin tone. Let's see, where should I put it? I want to put it towards the top area. It helps balance her skin tone out and also have it look a little bit more blended into the environment. So now that that's done, I'm going to create a new layer, and we're gonna do screen again. I want to see how it would look with just following the reference with a little rim light towards the side of her face. And then some rim light towards the edge of her ear. I guess I could also add some highlight while I'm at it. Lower it. Actually, let's put it on lighten. Alright, so this is what we have. With just a little bit of environment color added on. Let's remove that for now. Go to the face. I'm doing some slight modification / refining. Blending out her features a bit more and refining them. Let's add tiny dot in there before, after, merge down, create a new layer, and then we'll add some freckles. Multiply, lower the opacity, smudge it out a little bit. And then she's got some ridges on her head. Or I could imply it. Create a new layer. Let's use some cool tone just to highlight some of her skin tone a little bit. And blur that out. Oh, blur it out a bit so it's not so harsh. Lower it. Lower the opacity, merge down. Alright, now we'll add back the skin effects. I'm going to slightly remove some of that. Go back to that. I'm going to try to add it again, this time a slightly bit more subtle when I add it. Alright. I think for some reason I do a faster job at rendering skin tone that's kind of a off color than actual skin tone. Like a fantasy skin tone. That's not the conventional realistic skin tone, I guess. Alright, I think that's basically it and actually looks pretty finished. Can't believe I did this in like 2 hours. And of course we can spend some extra time refining and all that, but this is basically good to go. Maybe I could make it a little bit better with like a few more hours of refining, but I'm pretty happy with what I have here. So we'll just go ahead and apply the effect to all the layers. Oh, this is the shadow. And I did say I was going to give Karlach a choker. So just darken. And do a little choker for her. Add some shine. And that should do it. Lower the opacity. Save real quick. Let's go to the background now. So we got our ice cube here let's try to make it a little bit more obvious that it's an ice cube and that she's sitting on it and that it's steaming because she's so hot and stuff. Oh yeah, I should also add in the tattoos and whatnot for Karlach. Let's somewhat blur everything out. Next up, let's add some shadow to imply she's sitting on the ice block. Let's imply, where is, there it is. This is the edge of the ice block. And I did say I was going to add some hands to imply. Let's add a little finger poking out here. If I don't add finger, people might think this is AI generated. That's how people are saying, you know, if the artist don't draw hands, it must be AI generated. So maybe I can just add like a finger here or something. Let's see if I can add in tiny finger. Not sure if this makes sense, but here's your 2 fingers. Should probably also refine it afterwards. Let's go ahead and add a mask. Okay, there is our hand here. Okay, now I'll zoom in and do a little slightly better job at it. Add a little highlight towards the top. I'm going to have to work on the shadow on the ice cube. I mean, the ice block. There also should be shadow around this area. Let's go back to the hand and see what we could do here. Add a tiny bit of red here just to actually, can I imply a few fingers here? Or is that weird? Yeah, it's weird. Okay, never mind. I guess I can't really do that. It's gonna end up looking weird if I did. But I had to try it out. Let's bring the shadow a little bit down here. Pants, move it up a bit. Lower this side and raise the butt area. There we go. Okay. grab the pants, make it a little bit darker towards the bottom. Merge down. Go back to the bust layer. I'm going to switch up the shape a little bit more. Alright, what else? Oh, yes. Probably gonna add some particle effects coming from the eyes. And then I also wanted to include one of the flaming swords in the game in the background. And there's I also have to add some flame effects on her. Yeah, there's still quite a bit to do, but most of them are small details to work on. But overall, I think her base is done. Welcome back, guys. As you can see, I did some small refining on her face, tilted her head a little bit so it wasn't like full on straight and stuff. Just adding a bit of angling to her head direction, I think helps with the very like static pose that I have for her. And I went ahead and did like 2 screen grabs of my game, and just for the purpose of working on the tattoo and the body detail because she does have quite a bit. And I also worked on the pants slightly, not too much. So I darkened the top portion and then I added some small details. Again, just to try to accentuate like the how the hips are kind of protruded a little bit. And I wanted to make sure the hips caught a nice amount of that highlight. Okay, so now that that's done, so for the last portion of this voiceover, I'm going to be focusing on the tattoos and some of the body rendering. But first, I'm curious. I want to bring this over, and then I want to bring her belly just down a little bit. Let's bring this down a bit. Alright. I think that looks a little better. Okay. This is the choker. Bust. Okay. First, I'm going to do something here to make her shoulder stand out a bit. I'll just simply increase the contrast, make it a bit brighter. Okay, merge down. Now her face, did some slight moving around for just to give her a little bit more expression. So like that, cause I felt the standard static expression was a little bit too similar to the reference I was using for her face. So gotta give her a tiny bit of maybe a little scowl, a tiny grin, that sort of thing, just to give the face some personality and whatnot. And after that, definitely feel like I need to give her somewhat of intense lighting on her face somehow. Although I don't really want to ruin like how I have it, but I just want to try to just add some more intense colors just to match the intensity of her shoulder. So let's just make that area a little brighter, and basically I'm gonna bring some of the shoulder highlight and put it on the face. Let's use some of the erase tool and gradually take away some of that highlight. I'm going to go into airbrush and let's try to softly blend that out if possible. I might lower the opacity afterwards so we can get a look at the in-between of this change right here. But yeah, painting red skin is pretty fun. Well, I do find it easier than painting conventional skin tones. Okay, so we can try it like this. Add a tiny bit of highlight on that side. I don't think that works very well. She looks like she's squinting, so that is not what I had in mind. Let's add a bit of highlight towards the bottom eyelid and gradually fade this. Okay. Let's add a bit of highlight here. Okay, I think I'm gonna test out, like open her eyes a little bit so she doesn't look like she's, like squinting too much or, yeah, I think maybe this might be better. I do lose some of the parts that I like if I add this highlight. Mm, let's remove these and have it more focused on the tip of the nose and the forehead. Doesn't end up working out too well though. Okay. What if I just simply made the whole face a little brighter? Let's see how that. Okay, maybe this is the best option. I was trying to see if I can just add selective highlight in high points of her face, but it ends up kind of removing some of the expression areas that I like, so I'm just going to basically brighten up her face a bit so that it matches better with her shoulder, how bright her shoulder is. Okay, Now back to the tattoo portion. Okay, so I will basically try my best to replicate her tattoo. I guess there's gonna have to be some slight changes. Okay, I'm gonna try my best here. Okay. Her tattoo is pretty intricate. That's my game. I'm just going to rotate the model because I couldn't see. I forgot to take a screenshot of the back. Her back, I mean. Alright, let's do this. So, her tattoo. I wish I could zoom in a bit more into the into her model, but it kind of locks at a certain zoomed in percentage. Okay. So it's like this, wrapped around somewhat, and then I think uh, there's one here, and then another one like this, and then it goes down. Oh wow, yeah, it's hard for me to see what's going on here. Let's just try our best. Okay, it goes down. And then this part. Okay, it's this part right here. And after that, there's some streaks down like this. Oh my. And there's some tattoo extended towards her chest. But I guess it's not as visible with her arm like hiding it like that. Oh boy. This is a uh uh, man, it's getting confusing for me. Okay. Let's go with another line right here. Oh dear. Um I guess I won't be very accurate because damn, I can't really get a good look. Okay, let's just like do our own interpretation, I guess, for this part because I can hardly tell what's going on down here except for this detail. Actually, maybe I should take her clothes off. Can you actually? Oh yeah, you can. Okay. Okay. Oh, I see. I took her underwear off in game so I could see the tattoo better. And now she's the only companion in my party that's naked. Okay, so her tattoo goes like this, where the rest of her the secondary part of it contours underneath her chest based on the naked model. And I guess I will just go ahead and follow this now. Oh, it looks like a lot of somewhat of a intricate design. Okay, we will just try our best to replicate it. Ooh. Good thing I'm using the watercolor because it's already got like a scribbly feel to it anyways, and it's somewhat similar to um, the the tattoo texture that I see. One more here, one more here, descending into another line of tattoo. And then it goes like this. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I'm completely getting it wrong. uh, okay, so it does. It goes like this. And then oh, okay, the rest of her tattoos towards her back, so around this area. But it's not gonna be shown too much. Other than here, uh, there is a tattoo that's covering her bicep, or this part of her muscle. And then, oh dear, she's dancing. And I can't see it clearly. And then the rest of her tattoo is on her forearm, which is really hard to interpret right now. Right here. Let's follow that. Okay, so this is the arrow type shape. And then we have this. Very hard for me to interpret. Okay, well, there might be some change, there might be some slight deviation from the original. One line here, another line here, and then a band around the arm. Some extensions downward. Down, 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 like this. Oh man. Yeah, not very clear what's happening here. I wish I could zoom in a bit more. Okay, like that. One line here, and then down. Yeah, her tattoos are very interesting, but hard to kind of get a clear view because of limitations in how much I can zoom in. But I think this will do. Hopefully, I think maybe I'll move this up a little bit. Might need to be higher still. But she is a really well-written character, and her personality is actually very It feels more innocent than what she looks like. And it's just a really nice contrast. Not that she's innocent per se, but she's a lot more wholesome than how she look, which is a nice surprise. Very lovable character. Okay, well, let's go ahead and add the grommets. Maybe that's gonna help make this look complete. Right now it's not looking as good. So she's got 3 grommets down the center of her arm, and 1 lands right on top of, right at the edge of the tattoo. And then we have 1, 2, 3 that way, and then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there is 1, some on her back, and then 1 here. Okay, let's go back to the tattoo and adjust it. Go back to the grommet. Let's add some small amount of highlight. And then I'm gonna save real quick. Let's go into layer properties. And I'm going to add a black border to that. This is a base. Constrain a layer down. Let's go multiply so that I can further add a bit more shading to each grommet because it still looks like it doesn't belong on her body. So slowly I'm gonna try to basically try my best to blend it into the body through shading. Just adding some more shading to the areas that are darker in general, especially inside the shaded area. Let's add some highlight. And then we'll do the opposite to the area that's lit up. So we'll add more lighting to that area. Towards the upper area of the grommet. Okay. Looks a little big. Let's go back here, reduce the line. That should do. Alright, so now I'll just merge everything down. And it still looks kind of intrusive, doesn't look like part of her, so we'll just work on the shape of them now. And try to somewhat get it to warp a little bit better depending on the placement of where they are. Okay. Let me lower the opacity, and this helps to blend it in just a little bit. Make it darker. Lower the opacity. And let's see here. I think that's like the only... Okay. She has a couple on her back, but it's not going to be very visible. Other than that, she's got some indentation on her skin. So for the grommets, I'm going to use the airbrush to help me somewhat add some pressure shading or shadow, as if the grommets are embedded into her skin. So I'll just add some sort of shadow slash highlight reaction towards the grommet on the skin itself. Well, I think she's got some, okay, let's go with that for now. It doesn't actually look that much like the design, sadly. So we'll just keep working on it until, you know, it actually looks good. I'll just select all that layer, all 3 layers, and we'll move this area around. And then we have the Inferno engine. Let me just merge this down, and we have the tattoo. Go to this part. This is going to be a little bit tricky to work on. Let's go to add glow. And I guess we'll just add some of that. Let's adjust it. Let's add some glow towards the top area. And I'll just move it around. And then there's a lot of ridges on her body, but not sure if I'm going to do that. This is like a super simplified version of her that I am working on. It's missing a lot of these rougher details. Let's see. Go to the hips, and let me see if I can get at least a little bit of that design. Kind of hard to see. Let's do the general shape. So some of these Ripley type details towards her hips. Okay, I can make it a little subtler. So we'll just softly blend that design in. I could probably accentuate it a little bit with some highlight, especially towards the top portion of these ridges, and then somehow blend it into like a hip highlight. Or I guess we'll just keep it like this. And then we'll add some shadow towards the bottom to accentuate. Oh, okay, I probably can't make that brush stroke right there. It's going to take everything out. So we'll switch to airbrush. and darken the bottom portion of this ridge, enhance it a little bit maybe. Now it's really red. We'll tone it down with slightly more dull color. Might be a bit too protruded, so I'll just lower the opacity for this part and make sure it's not too protruded. We don't want this to be like a distraction from her body in general. Okay, so now that that's done, she has several markings on her arm. Let's go to the tattoo. There is a clear break right here. And then there's some like other breaks in her tattoo designs. So I will go ahead and just make those. Let's see, there's one here that's kind of obvious. Oh, let me clean up the tattoo as well. I guess I'll do some, I'll just add a couple more breaks. Okay, and then there's a couple breaks towards the tattoo on her stomach area. Alright. Okay, it's starting to look a bit more like her. Okay, so now that that's done, let's go back to the ridge detail on her hips. She has several ridge detail throughout her body. So let me see if I can just indicate that ever so slightly. Some implied ridges throughout, since she does have these, you know, and they're quite obvious. I don't want to just like gloss over them. Reminds me of, I don't think these are veins. These are more like, looks like melted flesh texture. Or burn scars, actually. Let's see. Let me just add a couple implied. But yeah, she is quite a lovable character. I really like her. Yep. She's just so cute. Let's add some highlight among the area with the grommet, as if the grommet's sticking into her skin, and then we'll add some of those ridges or skin indentation details. Add a little bit on the other arm. Okay, good thing she doesn't have too much of the tattoo going on because that would have been a lot of time spending on tattoos. Alright, so I'm gonna merge down. This is her glowy part on her chest, although it's not showing up as visible. And one way to make it more visible is just having her chest skin tone be a little darker so that this part can be more visible. And I want to see if I can improve the look here. Let's go ahead, grab that brush. Alright, well at least it enhances this design here enhances her cleavage somewhat. Okay, now that that's done, her tattoos are done. Moving on back to the pants because the pants needs more work. Let's work on, oh, okay, now that I flipped her, I might want to work on that expression. But onto this leg in particular. I think what I'll do is I'm just going to cut this leg and have it on a separate layer. That way I can be a bit more free to move things around, and I just want to adjust the shape of her leg shape right here. Let's go ahead and add some highlights. And I'll just render out her leg, especially this muscle right here. And then fix the tip of the knee using the airbrush, and we'll just blend it downward. Okay, I think I like the shape of that. Once I'm sure I like the shape, create a new layer, clip it down. Let's use some warm tone, and I'm just going to add some shine onto this portion of her leg, since it is supposed to be in highlight or catching most of the lighting. So we have a bit of yellow, and then we'll have a bit of the environmental blue color. And then we'll take a little bit of this. Bring it downward into the highlighted leg muscle. And I'm gonna use the watercolor, and let's take this color right here and see how it would look if I just added a big batch of highlight towards the top portion of the leg. Might be a bit much, yeah. But that's okay, we'll just tone it down a little bit if it doesn't end up working out right now. It's not looking too great. Doesn't really match the other leg either. Okay. I guess I'll just remove that then. It doesn't really look like it would fit very well. I guess for now we'll just do it like this. Increase the contrast. We'll take whatever's on the other side and apply it to the side I'm working on. I was hoping to try something new, but that did not end up working out that well, so I'm going back to my original plan, which is just to replicate whatever I've got on the other side, basically. So yeah. So I'll just go ahead and render that out, including some folds. Yeah, I think this looks better actually. Add a little bit of highlight under the shadow of her knee. Go back to the airbrush. Still not a big fan of how this looks. So let's up the contrast. Lower it and then lower it. Up it and lower it and try a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna take this part right here. Copy. Use the liquify to bring it up. Bring up the highlight. I think bringing up the highlight looks better. Take the highlight color from the other side. Let's see if we can add it to the edge, outer edge of this. Still not feeling it. Maybe I just need a little bit of a balancing out, so I'll just go ahead and add a blue rim light towards the bottom. Actually, it needs a bit of cushioning with shadow towards the bottom. Let's merge down and grab this part and bring it up. merge down. Okay, now let's see if I can increase the brightness for that. Okay, maybe not too much. Let's take this. Add it towards the top. See how that looks. Does not look that great. Increase the contrast. Merge down. Yeah, not really into what I have. So I have to figure out how to fix it. And I guess the best way is just to look for a reference. I think I found a good one. Let's test it out with this leg right here that's already bent. Let's hope that this texture will save us from the from the. Okay, actually it doesn't look that bad. I think it might work. I'll just intensify it a little bit and adjust the general tone maybe. Lower the opacity, warp it. And then I'll blend the texture in. Actually, we could use this smudge tool. Alright. It's missing some color though, that's the thing. So what we'll do is let's go with that. Lower the, actually merge down, lower the opacity, merge down again. Add a little bit of highlights. Merge down again. Maybe this part needs to be a little darker because the background feels like almost the same darkness as her pants, at least the top part of this leg. So it felt a little bit like as if it was blending in too much. But I still would like to add some of the environmental color towards the top and the side of that pants. And then I'm going to clean up the silhouette there. Let's go back to the normal pants side. Keeping the pants 100% simplified from her original pants design. Let's go ahead here and really up that contrast. Lower that, and then we'll use a new layer clip down. Trace the shape, the upper silhouette of this leg. We're gonna input some environmental color in there. And then clean it up because it's messy the way I had it. And we'll go back again, add that blue tint once again, and then one more towards the top of the pants. After that, create a new layer. I need to add back in some of the shadow because it did soften up the pants. So we have to add back some of the sharper details. It's a lot of just balancing out. Create a new layer. Let's go ahead and put this layer in color dodge. Let's try to add some. Oh, nope. Don't like that color. It's not good. Let's go for screen instead. Something light. Something light so I can add some very, very bright highlight to the pants to enhance the shininess of it. And this has to be done a little bit carefully because not really sure where to put these highlights. I have a rough idea, but it's kind of like guessworking sometimes. Okay. And then I want to add some of the blue highlights. I'm gonna highlight her nice, what's it called, quads? Or that leg muscle that's right here. But her nice leg muscle. So now that that's done, we'll go to this side and oh, we can probably enhance the blue highlight towards the side. Although not sure if it's a good idea, so we'll just try it out. Oh, that's too bright. Before, after. Alright, so I think we're good with that. Merge down. Add a bit of shine. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, we have to, let's fix up the face a little bit before we go. Merge down, create a new layer. Use the airbrush. Merge down, copy that part of her eyes. And we'll just move the eye around. I'll lower the opacity. Let's go for like an in-between of what I just did. And another thing I could try is basically copy the other eye onto the opposite eye. Usually they'll help with matching with where the character's looking and stuff. Okay, let's see what else. Other than that, let's go ahead and rotate her, and this is gonna be interesting. Let's add some flyer effects. I'm gonna be looking for some fiery effects to put on her, just like sprinkle it around here, around her. Since she is really hot and stuff. So I'm just hopping onto Google and Googling fire effects. Let's see what we could find. I think I could do something with this. We'll just copy some of it and overlay it on parts of her. So I'm going to call this fire effect. Paste. Put this on screen. Screen and make sure the layer is through. So we'll try to see if we can like just have some little areas with this. Although it's not going to show up very well in certain areas because of how bright the background is. Let's see if I can perhaps make it a little smaller. I mean, I guess it's not too bad. We can still see some of it. So we'll have one. Second one. Put it around here. Still around the tail. Doesn't look very good with where I'm placing them. Let's just do what we can. I know that her hair, sometimes there's like effects around her head, so maybe a little bit on the horn maybe. We can just have a tiny smaller, maybe around here, towards the tip. Oh, maybe like this is all like a trial and error because I'm not too sure what would look good and what wouldn't. So let's have a little bit towards the edge of her horn, and we'll just kind of rotate the flame a little bit. And then we can try to have some on her hair. Might need to be a little bit darker. And also, I'm going to move this flame a bit lower. Not really, doesn't look as good as I want it to. I mean, it's not too bad, but oh well. I think I could probably improve the look later on with some particle effects. So now we'll have one smack dab in front, like this, and then we'll kind of somewhat blend it into her hair. And it's not reading very well, but at least it maybe can serve as somewhat of a rim light for the hair. It's not too bad. Merge down. Let's have a little bit on the side of her hair maybe. And then I'm just working my way down, really. We can definitely have some around the tail area. Let's move the effects around. Another one. I can sort of focus on, actually, yeah, focus on the silhouette of the character. So I'll just try to use this to contour her shoulder maybe. Although it's not looking that great, so maybe I won't put that there. Mm. Yeah, maybe put on the tail instead. Merge down. Let's grab this part. And I'm gonna try to see how it would look if I just put it underneath her, behind her. Like that. warp it to contour her silhouette first. And then we'll do screen. Let's do it here. No, wait. Do it behind the tail, maybe? Okay. Nah, it's not really looking that great. Okay, I guess I will give up on that idea. Actually, wait. Let's test out behind the hair, maybe? Ah, forget it. Okay. Next up, I would like some amber. Part of the effect. Let's see how that would look. I think this is gonna look a little better. Screen. And I just want mostly the amber itself. Let's add some here. Screen. We'll just focus on the parts that's already on fire and adding some of that amber detail. And I'm trying out some different layer modes to see which one gives the best look. Add glow. And then we'll erase. Actually, can I have some of this as atmospheric? Let's see if I can put this in the back here. Oh gosh, well, it's not enhancing the piece as much as I'd like. I guess we'll just have it there because it's there. It's not really taking anything away, so I mean it's better than nothing. And then last but not least, I want to add some smoke effect. Smoke. Like when ice melts really rapidly. Okay, something like this, I guess. Paste. Might have to make it a little bit bigger. Screen, maybe color balance. No. Color dodge, add. Testing out the different layer effects. Maybe this one. Move it around. Alright, guys. Oh! What happened to her armband? There we go. I was like, something is missing. Alright guys, I think that's pretty much it for this voiceover. I'm kind I'm kind of surprised I managed to do so much in 3 hours, but I'm happy about it. I think what I could do is just clear up the background. As you can see, it's hella pixelated. I need to add some like a blur filter on it, and then uh, clean up the ice smoke, or at least see if what I could do with the effects after, and then that's basically it for this piece. Thank you for listening. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next voiceover. Have a great day or night, guys. Bye.